RuneScape's Grand Exchange has over 4,100 items that you can buy or sell. The vast majority of these are ones you know about or have even traded yourself, but there are also some items I guarantee you didn't know you could trade, or for that matter, knew even existed. Like, you can buy this item for 2.3k. If you know what it is, congratulations, you get the first gold star of the video. This is a Grak headdress and has been in the game since 2006. To make it, you need to go to the fancy clothes store in Varrock with some Grak fur and have the seamstress make it for you. Over the past 5 years, this item has only been traded around 3,000 times on the GE. But the Grand Exchange iceberg goes even deeper. Some of these items I found I guarantee you didn't even know existed, and alongside that, some items you can buy are also just straight up weird and kind of messed up. We also always talk about the most traded items on RuneScape, but what about the least traded items? Well, I think I may have found it. As someone who utilizes weird RuneScape items for some challenges in Gillinor games, link below to watch season 4 if you haven't already, I've always wanted to make a video sharing some of the stuff I found after years of researching for challenges and elimination games. I love the weird and quirky stuff about this game, so I'm really happy to be sharing this all in this video. Here's an item that can be bought for 40 GP. It's a book. What do you think this is? If you guessed a pie recipe book, that's another gold star. It came out in 2006 and can be purchased for 5 GP in the Cook's Guild. This book tells you all about the pies in the game and how to make them. Even though it came out in 2006, it's actually been updated with pies like the botanical and dragon fruit pie, which came out in the 2010s. I appreciate this attention to detail from the JMods. Only 3,400 of these books have been traded on the Grand Exchange over the past 5 years. Did you know that there are items on the Grand Exchange that cannot be bought? Seriously, put in a max cash offer for any of these and they will never fill. You could fill my heart with joy, however, by subscribing if you haven't already. We're super close to 400,000 subscribers, and look, I'm almost top 5. Just have to pass the ginger. Alright, here are some more unobtainable items. Let's see how many you guys get right. The first unobtainable item is a pair of rock climbing boots. This item is actually a reference to one of the most controversial updates in RuneScape history. For all of you who played back in 2010, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Rock climbing boots could be purchased on the Grand Exchange on RuneScape back in 2010, and they were around 200 GP. But after an update, their price was increased over 3,500% to 75,000 GP. This wasn't a player-related price increase. Jagex themselves were the ones who changed the price to 75k. As you can imagine, this didn't exactly sit well with the player base, and riots ensued in Falador. These boots were added into Old School when the Grand Exchange released in 2015 as a joke to commemorate the controversial update. The cooked chompy is another unobtainable item. Well, one of them is. This version you can buy and sell, but this version is impossible to obtain. The cooked chompy you get in game currently was apparently supposed to be a quest-only item. This version was going to be the one that players could get after they finish the quest. But for whatever reason, the quest version of the cooked chompy ended up being the one that everyone gets all the time, and this version just never ended up being used. The thing is, you can still try to buy it on the Grand Exchange, so I'm thinking that Jagex expected players to get this version when they released Recipe for Disaster, but in classic RuneScape spaghetti code fashion, something bugged out and players only got the quest version of the cooked chompy, and they were just like, fuck it, can't be asked to fix that. And now the roasted cooked chompy sits in the Grand Exchange, never having been sold or bought. So what item is the least traded item in the last 5 years on the Grand Exchange? I promise we'll get to that, don't worry. If there's one thing I need in my life, it's routine. On RuneScape, my routine is logging in every morning and checking my Grand Exchange merges. In real life, every morning I drink AG1. AG1 gives me my daily dose of vitamins, antioxidants, and probiotics to support my overall immune health. Ingredients like vitamin A, zinc, spirulina, and ginger are blended up into a nice and simple scoop that you simply pour into 8 to 12 ounces of water, shake, and drink. Just like that, you've consumed a blend of nutrient-dense superfoods and probiotics. It's like the ultimate multivitamin. It helps that it tastes great too. Pro tip, I like adding a bit of lemon juice to make it taste even better. Unfortunately, most people don't get enough nutrients in their diet, and AG1 is a great way to make sure you do and start your day off right. I've been using it for almost a year now and have noticed an especially big difference in how much energy I have. Building healthy habits and routines is a critical part of a healthy lifestyle. What better habit to have than giving your body the nutrients it desires? Try AG1 for yourself by using the link in the description. It's also on screen, and get 5 free AG1 travel packs plus a bottle of vitamin D when you first subscribe to AG1. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's try to find the least traded item on the Grand Exchange. This was a bit of a process. At first, my plan was to go to the OSRS Wiki Grand Exchange website and use a couple handy filters that they have available. This website shows all 4,084 tradable items and gives information about them. I can sort by volume and see the most traded items of the day. No surprise to see Pure Essence at the very top. By clicking daily volume again, I can see the items that have had zero trade volume over the past 24 hours. In order to shorten our list even further, we can use the most recent sell and most recent buy filters. Most recent buy is the most recent instant buy on the GE. For example, someone has a sell order for an Abyssal Whip for 1.3 mil, and someone buys it from that sell order instantly. Most recent sell is the most recent instant sell. For example, someone has a buy order for a whip for 1.2 mil, and someone sells it to that buy order instantly. If we sort by most recent buy, we can see that the last time someone instant bought a Dragon Armor skirt set was over a year ago. Same thing with a Super Anti-Fire Mix 1. If we sort by most recent sell, we can see that the last time a shaving stand, flat pack, and a steel Javelin P++ was instant sold was over 9 months ago. It's worth noting, by the way, that bladed bind and snare sacks no longer exist in the game, so these don't count. These sorting options can give us some clues on how to find the least traded items. Now, you might think that third age items are the obvious choice, but you'd be surprised to find out that most of them aren't. Third age axe has been traded around 100 times this year. The weird items are the ones we're looking for, like the one-dose barbarian potions, poison javelins, flat packs of all kinds, of course, are going to be up there. A surprising item that's up there is unstrung Zenyte amulets. Nobody's bought or sold one for over 2 months. Now, it's worth keeping in mind that all of this data is from the RuneLite API, so the numbers wouldn't include buy and sell offers from players who use the normal OSRS client or play on mobile. That was something that was kind of a bummer when I was adding up all these numbers until I hit up the smartest person in the old school community, OSRS Wiki admin Cook. He was able to provide me with the actual trade volume numbers from the Grand Exchange section on the old school website. So for the most part, this list is official. Here are the top 10 least traded items on the Grand Exchange over the past year. I would say it's no surprise to see third age pickaxe at number 1, but I'm going to say it is a surprise because that means somebody actually traded one. Keep in mind that the street price of a third age pickaxe is around 11 billion GP. Either somebody royally messed up, this was a troll, or who knows. Either way, a lot of money lost. Third age Druid robe tops come in at number 2 with 8. The Dragon Armor skirt set is number 3 at 9. The shaving stand and opulent table flat packs are 4 and 5. Third age felling axe at 6. A Dragon Bitter mature keg at 7. Third age Druid robe bottoms at 8. Dragon Bitter flat pack at 9. And a gilded 4 poster flat pack at 10. I had absolutely no idea what a gilded 4 poster is, but apparently it's just a bed. Like it's just a flat pack for a bed. Why it's called a 4 poster, I don't know. Just for fun, here's what the list looks like without third age items involved. Sapphire Glacialis Mix 1, Zenyte Amulet Unstrung, Mature Cider Kegs, and a Gilded Cape Rack Flat Pack join the top 10. A list without third age items and flat packs looks like this. Mature Mind Bomb Kegs, Adamant Spear Plus, Steel Felling Axes, Steel Spear P++, and Asgarnian Ale Mature Kegs join the top 10. I find lists like these fascinating, and for all future Gillinor Games competitors, study up. You never know when a trivia section is coming your way. I'm going to have to give the MVP of this list to the Dragon Armor skirt set. It's the only item that isn't third age that's been traded less than 10 times in a year. I've got the list of all 143 items that have been traded less than 1,000 times over the past year. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Thanks again to the Legend Cook for helping me out. There's only one thing left to do now, and that is to leave my mark on the old school RuneScape economy. I'm gonna buy some of these items that haven't been traded in months. Hopefully they actually end up buying, because there might be a reason they haven't been traded a bunch. First thing we're gonna do is buy the shaving stand. Hopefully it buys. We're gonna knock it out for 100k. And 100k on the dot. Shaving stand has been purchased. We also have the Super Anti-Fire Mix 1. This thing has not been instant bought in over a year, and I'm very curious why. We're also just gonna do 100k for this. Ooh, interesting. Okay. I'm curious if this is even going to buy at all. Let's try 500k. Hopefully this one works. And there we go. 399k spent on a one-dose Super Anti-Fire Mix. Another item that hasn't been insta-bought in 5 months is the Iron Javelin P++. Let's put in 100k for this. Surely this one instant buys. Thank you. Okay, 33k for that one. I'm also going to knock out a Steel Javelin P++ for 100k. Thank you. 80k. Oh my god, somebody's making a killing. A pre-made Toad Bata has not been purchased in 3 months. Put it in for $1 mil. 20k for that. An extended super anti-fire mix has not been purchased in 4 months. Let's put it in for 100k. All right, that one bought to 60k for that one. Just like that, 6 items bought that have not been traded in months, and I've officially left my mark on the old school RuneScape economy. Here's a couple more items that are impossible to obtain. Cornflower was released alongside Recipe for Disaster back in 2006. Now, you can obtain cornflower, but the potted version. To make cornflower, you use a sweet corn on a windmill, but it requires a pot for the process to happen. Again, for some reason, regular cornflower was released into the game, but is impossible to obtain. I'm now just realizing as I'm writing this that the Recipe for Disaster released with 2 different items that are impossible to obtain. The Ogre subquest had the cooked chompy, and the Ceramic Vase subquest had the cornflower. Quite the update. The Desert Disguise is an item you might recognize from a quest called The Feud. Originally, however, this item was going to be called a Caridian Disguise. For unknown reasons, however, the Caridian Disguise was axed in favor of the Desert Disguise. The items are exactly the same, the Desert Disguise is just a bit rotated to be centered. The Caridian Disguise was still released into the game on the Grand Exchange, but since it's impossible to obtain in-game, it's impossible to obtain on the Grand Exchange. There's an item called Osmond's Report that you could get during the 2022 RuneScape birthday event. It was added to the game in February and removed in March, yet can still be searched for on the Grand Exchange. 7 months ago, an item called Not Meat was unintentionally added to the game. You could get it as a drop from saber-toothed kebits. For some reason, not only could you get it as a drop, but you could even buy it and sell it on the Grand Exchange. An hour after they came into the game, they were removed from the inventories of any players who still had them, but they were not removed from any uncollected Grand Exchange offers, and they weren't removed if they happened to be in your private storage units in the Chambers of Xeric, which means that there may still be some in the game. More recently, an item called a Blighted Overload came into the game exclusively for the Deadman Armageddon game mode. For some reason, however, even though the game mode ended months ago, the Blighted Overload still remains on the Grand Exchange, and I have no idea why. Okay, can we talk about some messed up items? Like, let's think about this. Elves are one of the most iconic races in RuneScape. They're involved in multiple quest storylines, have a beautiful city, are well respected for the most part around Gielinor. You would think maybe the people running the Grand Exchange would have the decency to, maybe not sell their body parts in mass to players. I mean, you can just straight up buy and sell a severed elf head. I'm sorry, man, but just look at these 2 items. It's low-key pretty messed up that a chopped off head of an elf is being Amazon Prime shipped and delivered around RuneScape. Whichever JMod had the idea for these to be a thing, that's f***ed up, man. The rest of the ensouled heads are at least monsters, and it makes a bit more sense. Actually, now that I'm looking at this list, a Chaos Druid head, a dog's head, a monkey's head, it just feels illegal. I'm always looking for more weird and quirky things about the game to put into future videos. If you guys know anything about the Grand Exchange in particular, like the secrets or unknown items to buy, make sure to let me know. I'll save it for the next one. Update on my main account, we are at 2232 total. I told you guys I would update you every video. 44 levels to go until maxing. In my personal life, I've actually been very busy. A few weeks ago, I got my dream puppy, a 9-week-old German short-haired pointer. Her name's Luna, and she's been an absolute handful, but a welcome and honestly much needed one. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really excited for some of the videos I have coming up. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my latest videos on screen right now.